Then, coming up, it's an anniversary, it's the Harrier jump jet.
Yes, indeed, this incredible plane has been keeping the RAF up in the air for the past 40 years.
Yeah, and the unique thing about the Harrier jump jet, of course, it doesn't need a big long runway like every other plane. It can take off vertically, which is genius.
And some of that genius actually occurred right here in these buildings.
That's right.
It's here where the very first prototype of the Harrier was actually tested.
Amazing, I love that.
I thought so, and inspired, I've decided to get in on the vertical takeoff scene myself.
No.
Ordinarily, it costs tens of millions of pounds to build a Harrier. I'm going to see if I can send myself skyward for less than 200 quid.
My challenge is to produce a strap-on jetpack that can do what the Harrier does. Blast its pilot, me, straight up into the air.
This prototype Harrier here at the Science Museum shows what's going on. Vast quantities of air are sucked in through these ducts at the front. Then air and hot exhaust gases are blasted out through these nozzles here. They can be swiveled backwards to give forwards thrust, or pointed straight down to give pure vertical lift.
A jet engine is out of the question on my budget, so I'm replacing hot air with cold water from a fire engine and getting my thrust from a few bent pipes.
My jetpack backpack design has got 4 distinct bends in it. 2 here and another 2 here. Now these bends are what I believe will give me my lift. So if you imagine what a bend does, it forces water to change direction. So here it's forcing the water to go down, so by Newton's laws the water must be forcing the bend to go up. Now I notice this every time I try and fill the kettle in the workshop. This bend here forces the water to go down, and it tends to want to force the pipe to go up. Watch this. Oh! Anyway, I think that proves the point.
I reckon I'll need to be able to lift 100 kilos with my jetpack, and to achieve that the water pressure in the pipes will have to be 5 times atmospheric pressure. That's 72 psi, or 5 bar in modern money. Sounds simple, but it could kill me if things go wrong. And they could. When the Harrier was first tested, it nearly killed its pilot, Bill Bedford. And now, it's the turn of my first prototype, the Stansfield Waterjet Mark 1.
There's a whole host of stuff that could go wrong that I probably don't know about. But the main worries are being struck directly by the jets and being driven straight into the ground.
That'd be bad.
That'd be really bad. You do feel a tiny bit of weight coming off you.
Unlike the Harrier, which balanced on 4 jets, the Stansfield has only 2, which slightly complicates things on the control front.
Whoa! No! Oh! Yeah. Yeah. Oh. No, that did actually hurt a little bit.
Just like with the Harrier, vertical takeoff is more challenging than it looks.
Shem, that looked like it really hurt.
Only in the way that landing on your head with 25 kilos of steel on your back often does.
You're absolutely bonkers. Tell me you're not doing that again. Seriously.
I've got to. It is so close to flying.
Did it fly? I mean, I saw it hop a little bit, but can it actually fly?
I mean, it will kind of hover for a little bit, but just there's no control. You're all over the place.
Will it ever fly, or is it a dead duck?
No, Mark 1 will never fly, but Mark 2, you guys wait and see.
You're such a tease. All right, then, it's time to meet the 4th member. Nice, actually.
It is okay, it is okay.
I like
now
it.
then, we left Jem's jetpack challenge in a pool of mud and in danger of serious injury. It's time to see if he manages to turn it around.
To celebrate the Harrier's 40th anniversary, I'm pushing the limits of engineering to create my own vertical takeoff jetpack for the price of an average bicycle. But the Stansfield Mark 1 was not a great success.
No! Oh! Yeah. That actually properly hurts.
What I learned from this little bump was that I'd need to sort out both the control system and the thrust. It took me and my mates a fair few hours in the workshop, but I think we may have done it.
So here it is, Mark II. Now the best thing about Mark II is it only weighs half as much as Mark I. The other nifty little feature is this seat here. That means I get lifted right up the centre of gravity. We've also fitted quick release racing harness, because I discovered in test 1 that hitting the ground really hurts. But this time I'm going to be flying it over water, which is good because it makes for a softer landing, but bad because it runs that slight risk of drowning.
The other advantage is that I'll have an unlimited supply of water, which is critical, as the new fire truck I'm using has the capacity to double the flow rate coming through the pipes to around 1,000 gallons a minute.
Here we go, the moment of truth. Does the science stack up? Is the engineering adequate? I hope so. Problem I've got is I've got limited control. I can go right and left, I can go forwards and backwards, but up and down is not up to me. It's up to these guys. The higher they wind up the pressure, hopefully the higher I go. Here we go. Okay, good.
The key to blasting me upwards is not the pressure of water when it leaves the fire truck, but the pressure of the water as it whizzes around the bends in the pipes on my back. To get airborne, I need to maintain at least 5 times atmospheric pressure in my backpack. But as the jets fire up, something is not quite right.
Yeah, it felt reassuringly stable. It almost felt like I'd be prepared to take that back over land if it didn't mean chewing up this guy's field. It's still just fractionally short on lift.
Even with the engine giving me full whack at one end of the hose, the forces hitting my backpack at the other end only just lifted me from the water. We can't lift the pressure at the engine any higher or change the jetpack, but there is one thing we can try: sending the fireman back for a shorter length of hose. That should reduce pressure loss caused by friction as the water rushes along the pipe, and with luck, give me my magic 5 atmospheres of sustained pressure. But will it?
This is the one. Let's go. Good. That's one of the best things I've ever done.
How cool was that?
Very good. Very
One
good.
of the stupidest things I've ever done. But now that I've cracked it, I'm going to be up there rescuing cats from trees on a regular basis.
Oh, I love you even more for that. On that heroic note, it is time for us to go this week.
Yeah, what are you guys up to?